Nick Fuentes is becoming mainstream. I actually can't believe those words are coming out of my mind. That Nick Fuentes, the extreme radical right-winger, misogynist like you can't even believe, obviously anti-Semite, like Nazis lover guy who's 26 years old, extremely charismatic, is becoming mainstream. And that was his goal the second Charlie Kirk was killed. He's like, I'm taking that throne. I want to become the next Charlie Kirk. Now Turning Point is placing him as one of their keynote speakers because this guy has, I think, the #1 podcast right now on Spotify. He's huge. And he is being interviewed, obviously, by the likes of Tucker Carlson. He's everywhere. He was even brought out to Patrick Ben-David's show, who tends to be rational. This guy is deadly lethal, okay? He's unbelievably capable. Unbelievably charismatic. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to captivate an audience. He knows how to sound really polite and really interesting and then say such crazy, crazy things. He knows how to pit people against each other, create hatred and anger, and he knows how to be the center of controversy. And obviously, at that center, he loves to hate on the Zionists and on the Jews, etc. But he also loves to hate on Candace, and he also loves to hate on absolutely anything because he clearly doesn't like people who are of different color to him. He hates on women left, right, and center. He is this character that is really, really scary. Scary to see as the future, as the person that people are listening to. And why are they listening to him? Well, he's well-dressed. He's charismatic, he's well-spoken, he knows exactly what he's doing, he's very charismatic, he's entertaining, and he's interesting, and he's very, very comfortable in his positions, and he sounds very rational and logical. Now, I debated a lot. Should we show some of his latest clips? His clips saying such vile things about females. I literally can't, and I am not a big feminist, but some of the things he says that come out of his mouth are very, very scary and uncomfortable to listen to, and he says horrible things about Zionists. He's not a great person. He's been demonetized from YouTube. He's been kicked off millions of different platforms because, again, the things he says are very, very far out there, but that's how he's gained his publicity. He just goes for it, and young men who are looking for, I don't know, some strength and leadership go after him. So I debated if we should bring clips and if we should review the things that he has to say. But lately, Constantine, who I love, the guy from Trigonometry, has said, you will have to be very, very careful with who you watch, because when you watch content, you give them, as you guys know, when you watch my content, you help my content grow, you show the algorithm that it's good content, you subscribe to my channel, it provides YouTube this feedback. When we watch people who are bad for the Jews, bad for America, bad for just society as a whole, we give them more publicity, and we can't help it because it's so interesting and entertaining to us. So I debated for a while what I was going to do. Should we review the things he says, give him the clicks, give not? And I decided, you know what, instead I'm going to watch Dinesh D'Souza, who's somebody that we should absolutely be supporting. He's a very interesting guy who has got a lot of interesting movies. He's got a movie that's just come out that's about Israel, and he's right-wing, but he's kind of been a very logical voice on the whole kind of pro-Israel movement and fighting against this kind of new woke right. And so we're going to watch what he has to say about this new Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson interview. In this interview, just to be clear, Nick Fuentes outright says that he loves Stalin, okay? He says that, and obviously he says a lot of other crazy things, but I didn't watch the entire thing, and I didn't click on any of the official links because I'm sick and tired of giving them more publicity. I think it's bad. So let's watch what Dinesh has to say on how we're going to tackle this problem.
I see this morning that Tucker Carlson has a very friendly, I would say almost devotional interview with none other than Mr. Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is a guy with whom I have some experience myself, having debated him now, I guess a few months ago it was. And my debate with Nick came about because he was going around posing as the alpha male. No one will debate me. Ben Shapiro's scared of me. Charlie Kirk's scared of me. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not scared of you. So let's debate the Iran strike. Let's debate Israel, radical Islam. And we had a pretty lively and spirited debate. Substantively, I have to say Nick was kind of out of his depth, but I think he knew that. He's nevertheless a glib, facile type of guy, and impressive in his own way for a 20-something. And I even told him that in the discussion. Now, after this debate, I got a very agitated series of texts from Charlie Kirk, of all people, basically saying, why did you do this? And I'm like, well, because someone needed to show him up. Someone needed to actually expose the fact that he is out of his depth. He doesn't know and has no historical sense of the topics he's talking about. And so I decided to play that role. And Charlie's like, well, you're magnifying this guy. You're giving him a platform. And then I'm quoting Charlie, he's vermin, meaning he's bad news. And of course, I recognize that Nick had said things that were deeply anti Semitic, pro Hitler. Some of it said half in jest, but again, half in jest. That means it's half not in jest. And so here we see this. This interview with Tucker and Nick, and it is actually of a very different caliber. Tucker is not challenging Nick. Tucker is doing his usual, well, I guess Debbie's going to jump at this, but he's doing his usual kind of fluffer routine, which is he has these guests, and what he's doing is he's just massaging them and building them up. And giving them a platform and kind of like heartily going along. This is what Tucker did with the nun with the mustache. He did it with so many others, and he's doing it with Nick. And so I felt obliged. I haven't done this, of course, in months. I had no intention of doing it. I'm like, hey, look, Tucker, it seems to me that you are trying to become Mr. Turning Point, right? You're the main speaker at the upcoming conference, and you are trying to sort of, in some ways, maybe even take over Turning Point. I don't know. But the Turning Point people need to know that Charlie was not on board with this kind of fluffer routine. In fact, Charlie believed that I shouldn't even debate Nick. It's not even enough to refute him, challenge him, expose him. Charlie's point is this guy is poison. He's bad news. And so I released those texts with Charlie Kirk, and it's creating a big flurry on X right now. Tons of people are weighing in on all sides. But I think mainly my reason for doing this was simply to show the Turning Point is at a turning point. They're just going to have to decide, are they going to let Tucker steal Turning Point away from Charlie? I think that's the larger issue of what is really going on here. And the Nick Fuentes thing is simply one episode that really reflects that Charlie really was not on board with any of this. Now that Charlie is gone, Tucker is sort of is pulling in a completely new direction, while pretending that this is in full continuity with what Charlie was doing. And these texts prove that that is absolutely not the case. When I first came to America around 1980, I had 5...
What do you guys think about that? What do you think? Charlie said we shouldn't platform people like Nick Fuentes, and now Nick's going to speak for Turning Point. What's going to be? What's going to be with this? And it's such such a crazy question for us to be asking. What do we do? Do we platform the crazies, or do we just not talk about them? Because if only a small percentage of us don't talk about them, then there's still a lot of people talking about them, and then there's no voice that's actually capable of refuting and fighting back against these people. What does one do? Do you share the content? Do you not share the content? Do you talk about the content? Do you not talk about the content? I genuinely want to know what you guys think. I'll leave it to you, and we'll make a decision about how we move forward. Thank you for your attention to this matter.